It was 2021, my final year of high school, and I was in my room one day searching something on my laptop that no 18-year-old should ever be searching. I was searching up how to get invited to parties as a teenager. A few days prior to this, I was hanging out with my cousin who was 2 years younger than me, and he looked a lot more attractive than I did as well. He was rambling on about how fun going to these house parties were, and he would pretty much go to one of these like every single week and get with different girls as well from these parties. And me? Well, I grew up a really lonely and quiet kid. I was always that one kid who would just stay at home and was labeled as an introvert. And honestly, a big part of why was because I was never really invited to anything. You know, I was always in that middle zone where it seemed like everyone that I talked to liked me, and nobody really disliked me, but I was never really liked enough to the point where anyone would bother inviting me to anything. And so I thought it was normal not to have a good social life as a teenager because all of my friends at the time was also in the same boat as me. You know, none of us talked to girls. None of us really went to any parties. We were all just homebodies. I kind of suppressed my own desire for it. But deep down, I really wanted this human intimacy that was locked away in my heart. I never wanted to actually be an introvert. I wanted to be that kid in the classroom that could socialize with all the other kids instead of being the kid sitting in the corner of the classroom wishing he was that guy. And so instead of finding that intimacy in real life, I would move to video games. I'd play that 12 fucking hours a day sometimes, playing with my online friends because I didn't want to hang out with my friends in real life. I'd be addicted to adult content because I found that intimacy in that rather than finding girls in real life, right? And so when I was listening to my cousin speak about this, I couldn't help but just feel really jealous. And all I could really think about was like the Hollywood movies of like how they portrayed like parties and stuff, and I just really thought I was missing out. But I swear, my school, like nobody from my school even went to these parties. Nobody hosted a parties. Like I've never heard word from mouth that there was a party going on. Like was everyone in my school just a goody two shoes? No, obviously not, right? I was so down under in the social hierarchy. I was such a social outcast. I never spoke to anyone else to the point where I had no idea if there was any parties and stuff even going on at my school. Obviously, you know, every school does, right? I was just never invited to any because, again, nobody liked me that much. And so what did I do about it? Did I instantly flip a switch in my head and go and fix up my social life? Did I finally go and talk to more girls? Nope. I just went back to living my own mundane life, just went back to playing video games and watching watching adult content because I convinced myself that fixing my social life would have been too hard. Until one day, I was at art and design class at school, and I was sitting in the corner table, and my friends weren't there that day for whatever reason, right? So I was just sitting all by myself, and I wasn't expecting anyone to come and speak to me. In fact, I was feeling pretty anxious because I didn't want other people to kind of judge me for being a loner, right? I didn't want to get that loner accusation by people. And then all of a sudden, I see this short white girl walking towards me. Holy fuck, is she walking towards me? And then she comes closer and closer and closer and closer. And I was like, there's no way she's about to like sit next to me right now. And she does exactly that. She pulls up her seat, sits right next to me on the same table. And in my mind, I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? There's no way a girl just sat next to me, of all people. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? And she introduces herself to me, right? And it turns out that this girl had a pretty big crush on one of my best friends at the time, right? But anyways, we were having just a normal conversation. I think we were talking about anime, Jujutsu Kaisen was popping at the time, Attack on Titan, I think we were talking about that stuff, right? And I just had this profound realization that struck me. Holy shit, I'm actually speaking to a girl right now. Because I kid you not, bro, I swear to you, for 18 years of my life, I don't think I've even had a proper conversation with a girl before. Obviously, I've texted them on my phone, I've spoken to them on video games and stuff, you know, I've done that stuff, but that stuff's different, right? She was literally my first, and I was 18 years old, by the way. Even though she had no romantic interest in me, I was still glad, because it turns out that these females, Looks like they aren't too complicated after all. So throughout this entire year, moving forward, she'd sit with us on the same table pretty much every time we had this class. And it was really fun having this girl around, you know, she was fun to hang around with, right? And half a year goes past, so it is July now. And at this point, she thinks of me as a pretty good friend of hers now. And one day, I see her walking towards me on the table, as usual. But this time, she looks like she's walking towards me because she wants to tell me something. Holy shit. Is she about to confess her love to me? No, it wasn't that. But this still shocked the hell out of me. She told me her 18th birthday was happening next week. She's hosting a party. And she invited me to come. Oh my god. Holy fuck. Have I just been invited to a party for the first time in my life? I never ever thought this would happen. The night of the party arrives. And I was so nervous. Because I knew for a fact there was going to be a lot of girls there. And I had no idea how to dress. So I put on my pink hoodie with my ripped skinny jeans. And I pumped myself up. I hyped myself up. Because this night I was going to go and approach every single girl in there, get every single girl's numbers. I was gonna socialize like a motherfucker, just watch. And so she lived really close by, so I just literally walked to the party. It was like a 30-minute walk. Imagine walking to the party. And then I arrived at the party, and I was at the front door. And before opening the front door, right, I just got this heartache of just pure anxiousness just coursed through my entire body. I was so nervous. You have no idea. I was literally shaking before I was about to open the door, right? And I opened the door, I walked inside, and everyone just stares at me. There was girls, there was guys, there was a lot of people in this house, and I'm just standing there awkwardly, just quiet as fuck. And I just looked down and skedoodled over to the corner. And that was the first big mistake that I made. But there was a lot of cute girls in this party, and so I just went and got like a cup, I don't know, this is not a cup, but I went and got a cup with like a drink in my hand. I don't usually drink, but I just did that to fit in. But still, honestly, I did not know what to do, right? This was the first party, everyone was socializing, and I remember she had like these paintings on the wall, like these art paintings and like trophies and what that. And I was just standing in the corners, just like observing them. These are some nice paintings, yeah. These are some really nice paintings. And then my friend comes up and tells me that I'm looking like an awkward motherfucker right now. Like, what are you doing looking at these paintings? And I try to deny it, right? Like, I'm not awkward right now. But he was right. I was so awkward with my own body. I felt so out of my own body. Like, I didn't belong in my own body. And I just didn't know what to do. Everyone else was talking and I'm just looking at these fucking statues. And then all of a sudden, from the corner of my eye, I see her. I see this really pretty, let's say 5'7", blonde girl. And this girl was in my year group, but she was one of those girls where me and my friends, we didn't know shit about her. Because none of us even had the balls to go and speak to her because she was so pretty. And we were all just wusses, right? And I remember seeing her and thinking that if I don't talk to her right now, I am a wuss. And so I remembered what my friend told me just there of me looking awkward as hell. And I tried to muster up the amount of confidence needed to go and speak to this girl. I see her walking, right? She was walking towards the drinks table by herself. This was the perfect opportunity to go and speak to her. Just a quick break. If you are enjoying this story, feel free to subscribe to the channel. It does help me out a lot. We can hit 100k very soon, I think. Possibly by the end of February, maybe, if we're lucky. Yeah, back to the story. I was pumping myself up. Right? This is a party. This is the social zone, right? I need to get social. I just need to turn my brain off and walk towards this girl, and the rest will go, okay? She's literally there. She's filling her drink. This is the perfect time to do it. 3, 2, 1. Nothing. I froze. I pussied out. And she went back to her friends and just started laughing, having a good time. I fucked up. And just as that happened, right, my head just got filled with all these negative emotions and all these negative thoughts. calling me a pussy, calling me a wuss. And I just got in the most horrible mood after that. And I just started to feel really empty because I couldn't even muster up the amount of courage to talk to this girl. And the rest of the party just continued like this. I'd say hi to some of the girls. Nothing really happened, right? I would just wait for someone to come and speak to me. But that never happened. And by this point, it was like 10 p.m. A lot of people have left by now. I decided it's time to go back because I'm clearly not cut out for this. And so I go and say bye to like one person. And then I told them to tell everyone that I'm going. But honestly, no one would even know that I was gone. So I just left and started walking back home, feeling really bad about myself. Why was I such a pussy? Why? Why do I have to be like this? Why? Why can't I just be fucking normal? These are the thoughts that are running through my head. And then I just thought about something that stabbed a giant knife through my chest. My biggest fuck up was the point where I first opened the door to that party. Because if you recall, when I first opened that door, I acted just super awkward and quiet, and I just put my head down and walked to the corner all by myself. This was a new environment. I didn't know anyone. Well, I did know people, but I never talked to these people, right? I didn't know anyone. Nobody really knew me. What I should have done was I should have instantly went and said hello to everyone and greeted everyone. Because that would have gave everyone the instant perception that I was the social guy who did want to socialize. Instead, I instantly gave everyone the perception that I was a socially awkward weirdo who just stood in the corner of the party and didn't say a word. Which I was. I was just hoping people would come and speak to me. That didn't happen. It doesn't work like that. We're not living in a movie, unfortunately. Even though I was planning to go and speak to people throughout this entire party, right? I made it impossible for myself to do so, or I made it 50 times harder for myself. Because the more you wait, the harder it becomes, always. Because people judge you as what they think you are in their head, right? Even if you are a completely different person deep down, which I was, right? All I wanted to do was just socialize with the people in the party. All I wanted to do was just speak to that one girl. And that hurt me. That hurt me, seeing people judge me this way, as someone who I was not. I wanted these people to know who I really was, because frankly, I was just a really lonely guy, and I just wanted more social connection in my life. But that was being blocked by my social anxiety and my fear of being judged. Like, what the fuck? Think of that for a second. You have missed out on so many opportunities in your life to meet good people, but your fear of judgment is holding you back from doing that. And that thought, during my walk back home that night, was the thing that fucked me over the most. It was realizing that in that party, no, not even in the party, my whole fucking life, I have missed out on so many opportunities to meet good people, good friends, girlfriends possibly, simply because my fear of judgment and my anxiety held me back from doing this. Fuck this. Fuck this, bro. I was not going to let this shit hold me back anymore. Fuck that. So after that, I made a pledge to myself. I'm going to try my very best to give people around me a good impression of who I actually was as a person. So throughout the following years, in my university classes, in the gym, just in places where there are a lot of social people, just a lot of people, I try to have a much more energetic vibe about me. I gave people more eye contact. I was a much more of a happier person. Just trying to get rid of my fear of judgment and my social anxiety. And of course I fucked up, fell down, stumbled. It's not like I instantly flipped a switch and then I instantly became this social demon that could, get in the pants of any girl. But now, 3 years from the original point, I can safely say that I've been on dates with girls, beautiful girls, that I would not have gone on dates with. I've met lifelong friends who I would not have met if I wasn't a more social person. If I didn't go ahead and improve my impressionable my impressionability, if that's even a word. And I would not have been able to go on these, you know, weird, funky experiences. I've been on weird double dates. I've been on, you know, just really fun things that I would not have experienced if I stayed as that kid in the corner of the classroom who was too afraid to socialize. I've transitioned from an introvert into more of an extrovert, I'd say. And I'd be honest, it's made me happier than ever, because it doesn't feel like I'm chained to the ground anymore. Also, nothing wrong with being an introvert. I just feel like a lot of introverts use their introvertism as an excuse for poor social skills and not wanting to improve their own social life. At least that's what I did. And I want the same thing for you, because I know for a fact you have a lot of thoughts in your head that want to be let out, don't you? Unless you actually hate people and are an introvert and just want to be by yourself 24/7, in which case, forget this entire video. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe, comment, like. Those 3 things help me out a lot. Thank you so much for that. We'll see you in the next one.